Faced. It came in this adorable box, and I purchased mine on Sephora. You can also pick this up at Ulta, and you can also pick it up on the Too Faced website. This palette retails for $49. That is the only thing I picked up from the collection. Now, I used to own this. This is called the Diamond Light Multi-Use Highlighter. So I had purchased this one in particular in the shade Diamond Fire. I want to say I got it like, you know, several months ago when it first came out. I don't remember what the month was, but I didn't like the highlighter. I've actually passed it on down to my niece that lives in Florida. She's a makeup enthusiast like I am. So when I get products that, you know, just don't really work out for me, I send them to her. And I held on to it for a long, long, long time. And then just a couple of weeks ago, I would say maybe probably like a month and a half ago, I sent it to her. And let me tell you what I didn't like about the highlighter. First of all, I didn't like the shades because it was more of like a holographic, like purpley, pinkish undertone of a highlighter. I didn't like that. I like mine to be more of like a champagne or light golden base for my highlighter. And two, it wasn't very vibrant. So it didn't really have a lot of kick to it. It was just kind of like a, I don't know, it was kind of a dud for a highlighter. I'm going to be honest with you, especially paying $34 for it. Now, the box presentation was super cute because it kind of looked like it was a wedding ring, but I just wasn't really impressed with it. I'm going to be honest. It just was not very impressive to me, which is one reason why I handed it down to her. So I don't have it to show to you guys right now, but we're going to get into all the details about the palette. This palette is absolutely adorable. Now, it does have a mirror, but the mirror is just not usable, you guys. So you have 4 shades right here. These shades right here are the glitter shades. I get into all the details about the shades later on in the video, but you have all of these diamond shaped, which are the glitter formula, and then you have 4 matte shades, which are these 2 up here and these 2 right here, and then you have a duo cream shade right here, which kind of has like a pinkish purple undertone, but it looks kind of white in the palette, and then you have 7 shimmer shades in the palette. So you have a total of 18 shades, and they're all kind of cohesive together. Now, I pretty much use this top row. The thing that I really love about this palette, and when I first seen it on, I think I seen it on Trend Mood. When I first seen the palette, immediately, the thing that spoke to me the most was it felt like each row, you could create a look using just that row, which is what I did today. So I used the top row to create the look. Now, I did grab a little bit of this shade to kind of deepen it up, but I stayed in this top row, and like right on the second row, you can totally create a look using those 4 shades. The third row is the row that I am next going to be playing with because I cannot wait to apply this like warm, goldy, cranberry love all over my eyes. So you could create such a beautiful look. And then you have the bottom row, where the bottom row is kind of like a periwinkle type bluish, just, oh, it's just like, I love these 2 shades. They are so beautiful. And then you have this richly pigmented black that is a shimmer shade, but it is pigmented. I mean, it is not playing around. It is here for pigmentation. So that's what I liked about the palette originally and kind of drew me to it. Then as I started reading and kind of reading more of the details on it, I found out that this is more of like a gel type glitter. And so they were trying to make it easier that you didn't have to use a glitter glue. And later on in the video, I give you guys my advice on that, and if I feel like that is a true statement. But for now, we're going to jump right into this tutorial. I'm going to show you guys how I created this really beautiful smoky eye. I kind of like this look. This was not the look I was going for, but I really like the way that it turned out. And then later on, I get into a ton of detail about the glitter shades and how I feel about them, how I feel about the matte shades, how I feel about the shimmer shades. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so let's jump into this review. I'm kind of excited about it. So this is what the actual palette looks like. It is kind of thick. I've heard some people say, oh, it might be too bulky for me. And I get that. It is a little bit thicker, but I don't feel like it's bulky. Also comes with this card that kind of shows you different looks. Now that look is so pretty. Beautiful gold, and then you have like a beautiful pink, and you got this beautiful like periwinkle like gray. Oh, these are all really pretty. And I always appreciate when they include something like this just to kind of give you some ideas. I don't know that their instructions help that much, but it gives you ideas for looks to create. So this is what the actual box looks like, and it has all the shades here on the back. And it says the Too Faced tip is prime lips with Too Faced glitter glue for best results. Use your finger when applying the pressed gel glitter formula. Let's go ahead and zoom in here on the palette. Very pretty. These shades are really, really pretty. There's something about this top row that just really grabs my eye in just a very simple but very elegant and beautiful eye look. So I'm going to kind of stick to that top row, maybe grabbing a few, maybe grabbing a little bit from here and a little bit from here. I'm actually going to use my new set from Sonia G. This is the Pro Eye Set, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. So I'm going to take the Blender Pro. I'm actually going to go into the shade It's Designer, this one right there. It's the second one in the palette. And it's just a nice, like, creamy matte shade. And I'm going to kind of sweep this all over and just kind of, set down my concealer. I'm going to wipe off the brush. And I think I'm actually going to go into Fancy That, the one right next to it. I'm just going to sweep this in the crease. It's not as pigmented as I was kind of hoping it would be. I'm kind of bringing it this way as well. Kind of bringing it up here. Now I'm going in for the third time to build up definition. That shade isn't super pigmented. I mean, even though I know it's a lighter shade, but it's still not as pigmented. You can build it. It just takes a minute. I'm just kind of taking the side of the brush and pulling the shadow this way. Now I'm going to switch to the Crease Pro. I'm going to go into that shade, Fancy That, and I'm going to sweep this along the lower lash line. And then I'll probably like build up that shade where I need it. I want to build it one more time with that smaller crease brush and just kind of try to build up that shade within itself without switching to a darker shade. Once you build that shade up, it's a pretty shade. It just takes a minute. It's not as pigmented as I was hoping it would be, but it's doable. Now I'm going to take this brush, which is the Worker Pro. I'm going to go into the shade Filthy Rich, which is that top shade right there. I'm going to pack this on this brush, and I'm going to spray it, and I'm going to place this all over the lid. That one has a ton of fallout. Kind of taking that shade and kind of sweeping it up into the crease. And again, I got a shiz ton of fallout. I'm going to take that felt tip applicator. This one is from Huda Beauty. This is the Fender blender, I believe. And I'm just going to kind of carve this shade out. All I do is pinch it with a makeup wipe and kind of get it wet. And then, or damp. I don't get it wet, I get it damp. But I'm going to kind of really build that shade. It didn't really want to build very good with a brush. This might be a shade that you need to, but see the fallout? This might be a shade that you need to apply with a finger. If you don't use a felt tip applicator like I do, I would probably recommend using a finger with that shade. Okay, so I'm going to grab my glitter glue. This is from Too Faced. I'm just going to use a concealer brush, and I just put some right here on the back of my hand. So I have it right there. I'm just going to take a concealer brush and place this over top of the shimmer. Now, let's go into Diamonds for Breakfast. This one, the first, like, Mac Daddy in the palette. All right, let's just do the finger. Oh my gosh, these are so, oh my gosh, that is so pretty. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. Wow, oh my gosh, that is so pretty. Oh my gosh, you know what this reminds me of? The Stila Glitter and Glows. Oh. All right, I want to kind of have that like spray out into the crease. Okay, I'm actually going to take a little bit more glitter glue. I'm going to put it right here on the back of my hand. And I'm going to kind of rub that in my crease because I want to put that shimmer shade kind of all over my crease. I'm just going to grab some with my finger and kind of spray it into the crease. Oh, she is pretty, you guys. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. What this palette is missing as far as just within itself is a cool tone matte brown, or a cool tone dark matte brown. Because you have this one that's more of a warmer red shade, but you know, this is pretty much the only cool tone like matte shade in the palette, and because there's only 4, I just kind of felt like, you know, maybe they could have added 5 and maybe went away with one of the shimmer shades. I don't know. I don't know, just my opinion. But because I can't do that, I'm going to take this brush, which is the Builder Pro, and I'm actually going to go into Oh That's Rich, this maroon shade right here. It's like a dark brown maroon shade. I mean, that's kind of what it is. And I've got some here on the brush. I'm going to tap it off, and I'm just going to kind of place this on this outer corner and kind of build up a tiny bit of dark dimension. And kind of smoking it right like that. And then I'm going to kind of sweep it into the crease a little bit if I need to, you know, whatever's left. All right, now I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to go in with the Blender Pro, and I'll just blend that out. It's kind of what the look needed, you know, was just a little bit of that sultry dark shade. I'm going to go into that Fancy That shade, and I'm probably going to bring this up just a little bit higher. Now that I kind of know where the glitter placement was, I'm going to go in with Oh That's Rich and just pack that on that outer corner. Now that shade is really pigmented from what I can tell. So I put the color down and then I'm kind of dragging it out. I don't want to build that up really strong right here on this crease because I kind of want it to just fade. All right, I'm going to take the Pencil Pro, this one. I'm going to go into that Fancy That because it really didn't stay. Like that shade's just not very dark on its own. Kind of have to build it on top of itself, if that makes sense. I'm going to wipe the brush off and I'm going to go into Oh That's Rich. And I'm going to kind of slowly like buff that. All except for the fallout, this is really pretty. And you know what I like about this is this glitter doesn't feel heavy. And because I use the glitter glue, I don't feel like it's like falling all over the place. If you don't want that glitter to move around, you need to have something kind of, you know, holding it in place. That's just my take on using the palette. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye, throw some lashes on. I gotta fix my concealer. The fallout situation isn't the best, but we'll work with it. And then I'll be back and I will give you guys my final thoughts. I'm gonna swatch it for you and let you guys know if this is worth the money. So I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back and this is the final look. I think it turned out really, really pretty. Definitely a little bit more darker, a little bit smokier than I was planning on doing, but you know, that's what happens with makeup. It kind of takes you in a whole new direction that you were not planning on going in. So I actually paired it with this lippy from NYX. This is from their Machinist collection, and this is in the shade Ignite. I thought it actually matched the tone of this pretty good. Let's move on to the swatches, and then I will get into all of the details about the shades, what I think of them, and if I think this is worth the price. So let's go ahead and show you guys the swatches first. So as you can see, this is the glitter shade. This is a glitter shade. This is a glitter shade, and this one right here on the end is the glitter. And then, you know, you see your shimmers. Now, this one right here is like a duochrome. It looks white in the pan, but when you swatch it, it kind of has more of that like purpley, pinkish duochrome type shade. As you notice, this black, holy shitskis, it was so pigmented. I'm gonna show you guys a quick swatch right here on my hand, just so that you guys can see how pigmented that black is. It's pretty dang pigmented. And then that one shade called Oh That's Rich, that like burnt kind of red shade that I used, that's what that looks like swatched. So these are really, really pigmented. Let me get into my thoughts about this palette. So let me say right off the bat, you do have the 4 matte shades. Like I said in the tutorial, it would have been nice to see a cool tone dark matte brown, because the only one that you have here is this one. And, you know, this is a warm tone, this is a cool tone, but there wasn't another, like, deeper toned shade. They could have even done a neutral darker brown. But I kind of feel like that was the only shade, in my opinion, that was missing in the palette. Let me talk about the shimmer shades, though. I don't really like the shimmer shades in this palette. And let me tell you why. So I kind of felt like when I used Filthy Rich, this one here on the end, I felt like I had to keep like digging into it and to kind of build it. I kept having to go in and build and build and build. They're not as pigmented as some of the other Too Faced shimmer shadows that I have in my collection. One of my recent favorite purchases from Too Faced is this Tickled Peach palette. It's a little mini palette. I have loved the hell out of this palette. I really have. I love this palette. So I'm going to go into this shade right here. This is one of the shimmer shades in this palette. I'm going to show you guys just how pigmented this shade is. Do you see that pigmentation? I mean, that pigment is there, okay? It's vibrant, it's beautiful, it's easy to blend out, and you get instant pigmentation. So then I'm going to go into Princess Cut, this one right here, and it kind of does have that like peachy pink undertone base to it. And I'm just going to show you just what I'm talking about. So I'm going to try to build this shade, but do you see the lack of like, it just doesn't have a lot of like pigmentation. I don't really like the shimmer shades in this palette. Okay, so I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is from the Tickled Peach palette. I'm going to swatch this shimmer so you guys can see. Okay, that is, bam, like really pigmented, right? All right, now I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is called Highly Selective. This one in this Pretty Rich palette. I'm going to put it right next to it. But do you see what I'm talking about? Like, I feel like these are kind of duds. I'm just not getting the pigmentation. I'm just not, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's pigmented, but there's no vibrancy. Like, look at that shade. That shade is lacking some kind of luster. So just know that going into it, these shimmer shades are not the best. I would say, in my opinion, the only shimmer shadows in this palette that I feel like are pigmented is this one right here, which is called Don't Care at All. And then these two down here are pretty pigmented. And I will say right off the bat, these are very interesting shades. And I don't know off the top of my head that I have those shades in any of my palettes. This black shimmer shade, I forgot to mention that one, that is highly pigmented as well. So the darker the shimmer, the better the pigmentation. So I just want to let you guys know that this one right here and then these, they are pretty pigmented shimmer shadows. It's just these up here that are not like, they're kind of lacking. That's my opinion on the shimmer shadows. You're only going to get a few out of these that is going to work. The rest of them you're really going to have to build. So if you're okay with building your shimmer shadows, then you'll be totally fine. If you are somebody that likes your shimmer shadows to be no fuss, then it might be an issue. And I think that's the reason why I had so much fallout, is because this shadow right here, I kept having to go in and build, which caused me to have more fallout than I would have if I would have just went in 1 or 2 times. Now, I will say that when I cleaned up my lower lash line, I took my makeup wipe and kind of cut this crease. So you guys can see I kind of do have that angle that I didn't have during the tutorial, but that was just basically using a makeup wipe and then kind of putting my concealer back on. Okay, let's talk about the new glitter formula. This new glitter formula is like a gel type formula. So I guess the reason why they created that gel type formula glitter shadow is so that you don't have to use a glitter glue. So it's supposed to be like user friendly. So for those of you guys that don't like using glitter glue, or you just like to put a glitter on the lid and call it a day, this is kind of what this palette was created for. But I will say, when I put this gorgeous color on my lid, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm really loving this color on my eye. This is a thicker formula. This one I feel like does have the gel-like type formula, but I did use a glitter glue only because it still has a loose glitter pigment. So I don't want you guys unrealistically believing that you can use these completely 100% without a glitter glue, because I kind of don't feel like that is a fair statement, because I do feel like these are loose enough that they're going to move around. And if you don't want them transferring and you don't want to have a glitter bomb underneath your eye, I kind of feel like you still need to use a glitter glue. Now this shade in particular is probably the one that I would say probably does have more of a gel-like feel to it, but it's still glitter, you guys. And I don't want you buying this thinking, oh, I'm only buying it because I don't want to have to use a glitter glue, because I don't think that that is the case. That's just my opinion. I mean, some of you guys might disagree with me on that, but I just want to make it realistic for you versus blow and smoke. You know what I'm saying? The gel formula that they created with these makes it less messy when you're applying it. So I kind of feel like you still need a glitter glue to press it and like have it stick to that and not budge all day. But on the flip side of that, I feel like it's easier to apply with that formula because it's less messy, and I didn't get any fallout from the glitter. The fallout came from the shimmer shade. It did not come from the glitter. Just based on my opinion and me using it and the way they feel, I would still use a glitter glue, but it's going to be less messy. So I can appreciate the formula based on that fact. I think out of all 4 of the glitters, this one right here is my absolute favorite. This is called Fluid in Diamonds, and what I love about this shade is it has a base to it. So when I was swatching it, I didn't notice it until I swatched it because it looks like it's just a normal glitter shade just like the others. But if you swatch it, you can see that it has a base. So it has a nice base to it. And let me put this pink one next to it. So the pink one is just glitter. So see how you see that base right here? See that base? That's what I'm talking about. So, oh yeah, you can see right there. When I move it right here, you can see the glitter here and you can see this base. I love the base with that glitter shade, and it's the only shade in the palette that does that. So let me do the one on the bottom row, which is called Diamond Life. And this one is probably the sheerest of them all. This one is definitely a shade that if you want a lot of pigmentation, you need to pack. And you're definitely going to need a glitter glue with that shade. You can build this one. This one's just a little bit less intensifying, but I like that because it gives you options of different types of glitter. They're not all the exact same. And the one that I used looks like this. I just want to show you guys why I have you up close. These two are very similar in the way that they apply. This one's definitely more sheer, which is the last one in the very bottom row. But then this one, which is that Fluid in Diamonds, it's just a really unique shade, and I'm actually really excited to play around with that because as you can see, it has that really good, like that kind of yellow orange base to it. Then you pop that gold over top and it's just absolutely beautiful. I'm like swimming in glitter. I'm literally swimming in glitter. I've used so many makeup wipes trying to get this glitter off. I like the new glitter formula, and I do think that it's more user-friendly, but I don't want you guys going into this unrealistic expectations thinking that you're not going to need a glitter glue and it won't budge. I just don't think that's the case. It probably won't move around as much as some of the other glitter formulas that you probably have in your collection because it does have that gel formula, but just realize that it's still a glitter, and just to completely ensure the fact that you want it to stay in place, just throw down a glitter glue. It's super duper easy. And NYX has a really good one. I have the one from Too Faced. You know, there are a lot of really good, decent quality glitter glues out there. They're inexpensive, and that can just like be your assurance that it's not going to move around. But what this formula is going to do is just going to allow you to be able to apply them without having a complete glitter mess all over your face, because that's the one thing that I'm loving about my look right now is that if you look up really close, I don't have glitter all over the place. So typically when you do a glitter look as vibrant as this, that's not in, say, a liquid formula like the Stila's, normally you start making a mess, right? This was mess-free as far as the glitter formula because 1, I used a glitter glue, and 2, that gel formula just kept it intact and it just didn't go all over the place. So that's probably, in my opinion, one of the things that I love about this formula versus some of the other glitter formulas that I've used. So if I had to rate this palette on a scale from 1 to 10, I would probably give it like a 6 or a 7. Just for the simple fact that the shimmer shades are just not really impressive. And I feel like Too Faced, I know Too Faced products. Like I have several Too Faced palettes in my collection, and I just was not impressed with the shimmer shades in this palette. I don't feel like it's unbelievably amazing, but I also feel like if you love Too Faced and you love glitter, This palette is amazing, and you can totally make the shimmers work. You can totally make the matte shades work. That's my opinion on it, you guys. I hope that this review helped you in any way for you guys to make the decision. And again, I'm very sorry that I don't have the diamond highlighter to show you guys. My niece is enjoying it. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to come right back here tomorrow because I'm actually going to be uploading my Foundation Friday video. I know it's on Sunday, but you know. So I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend filled with love, happiness, and joy. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I love you so much. Bye.